So, I'm home. I'm back in the U.S. I have been back for exactly a week to the day. It's now 6 p.m. Anik time. So in about 5 hours, it will be official that I've been in the U.S. for a full week. A full week. Whew. It's a lot. So, I've been home, and so here is just some updates from the past week. Okay, so I know a lot of my friends and family are like, hey, you're back home. Nothing has changed. And let me tell you, a lot has changed. So, I was gone for 3 months. That is 3 months of my life that I spent in England, and that is 3 months of time that I wasn't involved with a lot of people's lives. So, just to name off a few people that I was like, hey, I haven't really kept up with your life. There's my friend Sarah, there's my friend Christina, there's my niece and nephew, there is my cousin, there's my boyfriend, there is my best friend Melody, there's my best friend Carrie, there's, I should have said best friend Sarah and Christina. I'm so sorry. There's Marissa and Rebecca, and I know that unless you are these people, you have no idea who I am talking about, but that's okay. And I got to talk to a lot of these people since being back this past week. Some of them in person, some of them not so much in person, not yet. I also forgot Kaylin, Tamara, Ashlyn. Literally, the list could go on and on and on for forever, probably, because there were just so many people in my life that I'm like, hey, I was just about to be like, hey, I just met you, but I didn't just meet them, but yeah, there's been so many people that I'm like, hey, you want to know what, so much has happened in my life, let me tell you about it, and they're like, hey, so much has happened in my life, let me tell you about it, so, there's a lot to take in. So, I promised you guys, I went back and I watched my last video from Anik, and it was so sad, I almost cried. But that's a normal thing in my life, because I've cried practically every day since getting home. And by home, I mean back in the US. So, for about the past week, I've cried every day. And let me tell you, reverse culture shock sucks. You're sitting here and you're like, oh, this is home, this is supposed to be so normal. But I go into my room and I'm like, this is weird. And my room's technically like the guest room here in our house, so it's like, oh, I'm a guest. But I'm not, like, this is my home. Well, my parents' home, but it's so hard. It's so hard being back. It's hard not waking up and seeing a castle, and whenever I say that, I think, wow, you're being kind of snobbish or upset that you're not seeing a castle, but honestly, like, this could have been anything. I mean, it's no different than reverse culture shock when I go back to St. Cloud and it's like, oh, this is home, this is my campus, this is my university. So yeah, it's kind of hard. Like, I don't know how to handle it. So, this is why I'm going to vlog, because maybe talking to you guys out in YouTube land is going to help. Or maybe it won't, and maybe I'll just continue crying daily. So, however, I figure I might as well just update you all on what's happened in this past week since I've been back. I got back last week Monday at about 5 o'clock Central Time in the US, and I instantly went to my roommate's house, and her mother is just so awesome. Thank you, Caitlin's mom, for letting me stay at your house, and for letting me make a sheep, and for letting me make tie-dye, and for letting me eat your food, and just, like, everything. So thank you so much. I don't know where I would have been. I mean, I probably would have gone with, like, Kayla and Tessa or someone, but, like, thank you so much for opening your house to me. I know it made me happy, and I know my parents appreciated it a lot because they knew that I was in good hands. So, I stayed at my roommate's house for 2 days, and then we went to St. Cloud on Wednesday to surprise people, and it was probably one of the best and worst days since being back. And, you know, you'd think, oh, I'm going to see all my friends, like, this is going to be so exciting. But then you realize that, oh, I'm going to see all my friends and they're not going to let me kind of have time by myself. And that's not their fault at all. I know I've told a lot of them, like, I understand you guys missed me. I missed you too. But it was just like constant people from 1 o'clock until about 10 o'clock. And I was just like, I am going to go insane. I like can't handle this. And so it was just constant people and constant finding out about what happened in their semester, and realizing that the second semester was kind of awful for a lot of people. So it was hard, but I did love surprising. I surprised my really good friend Sarah, and she was so cute. She was like the one person that I was like, if I'm going to surprise anyone, it's going to be Sarah. And so I was sitting there, and I got to my building. My CA, my old CA and good friend Christina was sitting at the desk, and I was like, oh, what if Sarah, like, comes down and she sees me? Like, she has no idea that I'm here. And so Christina's like, well, I could just call her until tell her that she's a perishable package. And so I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a great idea. So I hid behind the desk, and I was waiting. I was like, whoo, like, I'm going to see Sarah. I'm pretty sure I was sweating uncontrollably because I'm just like, I'm so excited and I'm so terrified all at the same time. And I heard my old TA call Sarah up and go, hey Sarah, you have a perishable package. And apparently Sarah's like, what does perishable mean? And so of course Christina explained, like, it's food, flowers, whatever. And Sarah's like, ooh, flowers, like, that'd be awesome. And so she's like, I'm coming right down. And I'm sitting there, I'm just laughing. I'm like, it's not flowers. I am not flowers. But Christina, like, says back to me, she's like, okay, I see her, she's coming. And I'm like, okay. And I hear Sarah come out of the door, and she's like, do I have a package slip? And Christina's like, of course you have a package slip. I can't give you your stuff without a package slip. And let me just put an interlude here. If I was Sarah, I would think, I don't see any flowers. Like, wouldn't you think you'd be able to see them? But it's whatever. She probably just didn't notice. So she went and she, like, went to her mailbox, and I, like, crept out from behind, like, the desk area, and I went and I stood, and I'm going to use this. So let's just say this is the square lobby, okay? So the lobby's like this, and the door that Sarah came out of is here, and the desk is here, okay? The desk, right here. And the mailboxes are here. And so she's standing there, and I come out over this way, and I walk around, and I stand there. That was probably a really bad example, but it's fine, whatever. And I stand there, and she kind of, like, looks up because she realizes there's a person here. She's like, oh, hi. And then she takes a double take, and she's like, Brie! And then she gave me a really big hug, and we both almost cried, and it was, like, perfect. And then later she put a picture on Instagram of, oh, you're so much better than flowers. And I'm like, I know I'm better than flowers. So I was so glad I got to surprise her. And if you're watching, Sarah, I love you so much, and I'm glad that you liked me more than flowers. So anyway, so that was Wednesday, and like I said, it was hard, but it was good. I got to see people, and I was just surrounded by a lot of people at once. And let me tell you, culture shock is kind of hard to process if you're just constantly surrounded by people who want to talk to you 24/7. Also, worst question in the entire world to ask someone who's been on a trip is, how was it? Let me tell you how a trip was, okay? It's like, how was your trip? Oh, it was good. Good says absolutely nothing about your trip, okay? So if I were gonna sit there, and I mean, if you watch my, like, final video in Annex, like, I can't put a word to my trip, okay? Whew, I'm calm. So you can't just, like, put a word. You can't just be like, oh, it was good. Like, it was fantastic. It was hard. It was a learning experience. It was adventures. Like, I can't just put one label on it. Oh, I was so annoyed. Just, like, everyone was like, how was your trip? Anywhere I go, how's your trip? It's like, good. It was so good. I loved it. Says nothing. Okay. I'm done ranting. So, anyway, it's just really hard to process culture shock when you're constantly surrounded by people asking you questions. So, yeah, that was Wednesday. And then Thursday and Friday were kind of calm, and it was just like, it's hard to all of a sudden be like, a week ago I was on a plane, but, like, let's just say 8 days ago, 9 days ago, whatever, I was still in Anik, I was still in England, and it's so hard to process, like, all of a sudden I went from being in England to being in the US again. And it's really hard to process, like, okay, all of these people have changed. My niece and nephew have changed, just for an example, okay? So while I was gone, my nephew turned 3, my niece turned 1. I see them yesterday, and it's like, you've grown up so much. My niece is walking. My nephew's vocabulary has grown, and he has more of a personality, and my niece now has a personality. And like when I left, she was still a little baby, and it was like, where did the time go? And I know all my friends are sitting there and they're like, you're different. I mean, you walk into a room and you just have more authority and you seem so confident, and it's like, I feel that, but I don't feel like that changed all that much. But I mean, I see everyone else and I'm like, oh my goodness, like what happened these past 3 months that I missed? It's hard, but I do have to tell you a cute story about my nephew. So I went to church yesterday. I go to church. I'm a church-going girl. And in fact, I am a crew leader for my university next semester, so I'm excited for that. But I'm sitting there, and at our church, you put your kid into like their Sunday school, and you get a little tag so that you can go pick them up later. And my sister hands me my nephew's tag because she knows that I want to see him. And I had called him the day before to be like, Ezra, you're going to see me tomorrow. Are you excited? So all he talked about that morning was seeing me, which was, that just makes me very, very happy. And so I go and I pick him up, and he's like, Bree, and I'm like, oh, you're so cute. And like I pick him up and I like carry him, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I have you, like, you're here. And so then I go and I find everyone else, and I realize I forgot his backpack. I always forget his backpack. It's just like a thing I do. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'll go get it. I'm like, do you want to come with Auntie Bree, or do you want to stay with Grandma and Grandpa? And he's like, I want to go with Auntie Bree. And halfway to his room, we find his dad and my brother. And so I'm like, oh, like, here's Uncle Bubba. You can give him a hug, say hi. And so I go to Uncle Bubba. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go run and get your backpack and jacket that I forgot. And I start walking away, and he got so sad. He started crying. He was so upset that I was leaving him again. And so, like, I had to go back, and I had to grab him, and then we got his backpack and his jacket, and, like, everything was good, but he wouldn't let me out of his sight, which is, as an aunt, like, that makes me happy, because it shows how much he loves me and misses me. And so, like, I was the one who put him down for his nap yesterday, and I'm the one who went and got him from his nap, and then he snuggled with me, and, like, he never wants to snuggle, so snuggle time with him is, like, perfect, like, I love it. So, anyway, now I have to be an adult again, and I have to find a job, and I have to just do a ton of things. So I have a long list, and I pretty much just rambled through this video because the week has just kind of been like that. It's just been a jumble of a whole bunch of things, and I still haven't had time to process. So maybe you guys can help me throughout the summer to process a lot of things. If not, you can just watch my videos of me rambling about my life. So I do like vlogging. I do want to continue. And if you guys have any idea what I should vlog about after I'm done processing this trip, or even halfway through the summer, because yeah, I need something to do with my life, just let me know below. Let me know in the comments. And yeah, I'm just gonna go be an adult now. I have laundry to fold. So anyway, have a wonderful week, and I will hope to vlog soon with more of an update on how I'm actually doing and how Culture Shock is actually going. So, thank you for watching, and be back next week.